Hi, I'm Christa Jacobson, headmistress of the Budo, where we teach authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai Bujutsu. And for those of you who don't know what that is, those are the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. Tonight I'm going on one of my night walks again, and I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts of the martial arts. And tonight's topic is going to be on situational awareness. Right, so family's in bed, dojo's closed, and here we go. Now, if this is one of your first times watching one of my videos, I'm just going to give you a little bit about me. My name is Christa Jacobson. I run the Budo, which means School of the Warrior Way, and I'm a Koryu martial arts instructor. Koryu is ancient Japanese martial arts of the ninja and samurai. So in Japan, there's a timeline. Anything that predates 1868 is considered Koryu Bujutsu or Koryu Ninjutsu. Usually people just say Koryu. And then anything after 1868 is called Gendai Budo, which is the modern martial arts. The modern martial arts in Japan focus on the philosophy of Do, or the way of enlightenment, or the way. So you usually see like Karate Do, Aikido, Kendo, Judo, Iaido, and then sort of thing. So for me, I am a Koryu instructor, and I teach authentic ninjutsu and Bujutsu. So I teach the martial arts in the age of the samurai and the age of the ninja. Now, I will say before we begin that the Koryu gets a bad rep. So everyone tends to think that if you teach Koryu or the old ancient martial arts that they're not applicable in the modern day, and that's absolute bullshit, but it is what it is. Everyone has their opinion, just like I have mine, I guess, but nonetheless, that is a little bit about me. If you guys are interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, please check out my website at www.budodninjutsu.com. Also, if you guys are into martial arts, Japanese martial arts, the samurai, the ninja, or modern self-defense or personal protection or self-protection type videos, please subscribe to my channel, because I try to put up a video every 2 days, every 2 or 3 days, putting up a new video on my channel. So if you guys are interested in raw reality or reality-based self-defense or classical Japanese martial arts or just martial arts in general, make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you click the notification, the little bell, so you guys can get notifications on all my new updates, okay? So here we go. Tonight we're going to be talking about situational awareness. Now, in the world of self-defense, I think situational awareness is like, 101. It's like something you just have to be informed about, understand, but it's something that you constantly have to train to be good at. It's not something that, oh, I know what situational awareness is, and then you don't train it. Situational awareness is just like any other skill of the martial arts. You got to practice it and train it to be really good at it. So today, I'm not really going to be making I don't want to edit this video. I kind of just want to make it and upload the video. So it's going to be one of those deals where I'm going to talk about situational awareness, some of the concepts, and how you can help train your mind and your perception to be more open-minded, or to see the unseen, if you want to think of it in that sense. But it is something that I would like to make a series on in the future and really explain detailed training drills and training practices, because situational awareness is like I said, it's the basics of self-defense. So first of all, what is situational awareness? I think the word itself, it kind of says exactly what it is being aware of the situation, aware. You also got, some people want to argue whether that is talking about the environment or the area. To me, it is the situation. The situation is in the element, therefore it's all one. I'm not one of those people that like to separate that. I know there's a lot of forums and blogs, and a lot of people like to write things like that, but I don't really get into that. To me, the situation is the situation, and you're going to have to come up in a very fast, intense, and violent situation. You're going to have to protect yourself or protect the ones that you love. So, the area or the environment is part of the situation. That is part, for me, situational awareness. That's the first step. Where are you? So where are you at? Why are you there? How'd you get there? And how the hell do you get out? Those are the first things you want to think to yourself anytime you go anywhere, right? Now there was a man, this is very popularly talked about when you talk about situational awareness. There's a man, I believe his name was Jeff Cooper. I'm pretty sure his last name was Cooper. I think his first name was Jeff. but he was a Marine, and he had talked about situational awareness, and he broke it down into 4 colors. Now, I know that there are people who talk about there are 5 colors, there are people who've said 6 colors, and even the color scheme has changed with different articles that you read. You have white, yellow, orange, and red. Those 4 are the ones that I'm pretty sure, I'm going to say Mr. Cooper, I'm pretty sure Cooper is his last name. I'm pretty sure that those 4 colors is what he himself has, what he wrote about, and the other 2 colors, which is gray and black, have been added on, that people have probably like kind of taken his thoughts and then added to it to their particular program or to their method of training. But let me go through these colors with you guys real quick. But you got white, and when you're looking at white, basically what he says, and I don't really want to talk about this that much, I mean, because this isn't about that type of video, because lots of people have made videos on this anyway, but white just basically means you're in an area that you feel very secure, you're sleeping, you're probably at home, you know, you don't have your radar on, that kind of thing, right? The next step is yellow. Yellow means you're aware of the situation, you know where you are, right? But there's nothing, not quite the threat, right? Orange means, okay, there's a threat, there's something going on, you've heard some screaming, something's very suspicious, and you've now recognized what's going on, you've recognized the situation, and you're being prepared. You're preparing yourself for something that's gonna happen, right? And then you have red. And red means the shit's hitting the fan. You're now in the situation, whether that's a fight or whatever, but now it's become a confrontation and you are involved in that confrontation. So those 4 areas have a breakdown of like psychological makeup, what you should do in those situations, so on and so forth. So again, white is, when you look at this color scheme, right? White is normal area. You're sleeping, you're at home, you're very relaxed. Yellow is you're aware, but nothing's going on. You're trying to survey the area. To be quite honest, the majority of my talk tonight is probably going to be in the yellow, not so much anything after that. Looking at situational awareness, being aware of the area and what's going on. Orange means there has been something going on. Now you're alert. You're focused on a specific situation, not so much the broad area. Now you're focused on something, but you're not in the situation. Nothing has, or you're not in the conflict. And then red is now you're in the conflict, okay? So when you are assessing a situation, like I said, where are you at, why'd you get there, how'd you get there, how do you get out, that sort of thing. I think all those kind of questions need to be asked. But the next thing you have to do when you're looking at everything is, it isn't a skill that you just say. Most people, I think, in the martial arts, let me backtrack, I know I fumbled my words there. Most people in the martial arts, when they go somewhere new, they're looking for the exits. I can't imagine someone who's really good at martial arts, who's trained in any martial art. That it doesn't even have to be Japanese martial arts. It's any martial art. Anyone who's trained in any type of martial art, when they go somewhere new, I'm pretty sure that their situational awareness is heightened a little bit. You're going somewhere new, you're looking for the exits, you don't know what's going on, you just feel a little unsafe. But what I want to talk about even more than that is that the majority of time, the situation is the place that you put yourself. Normally, let's think about muggers for a second. So now let's look at a reality of when you get mugged. When people get mugged, it happens within seconds. It doesn't even happen like, it's not like this thing's going to happen like it's a 5-minute long drawn out process. Someone's going to come up, steal your purse and run away. They're going to give you some sort of a threat, steal your wallet, your car, whatever, and then go away. And in that situation, you have to assess really quick. I mean, is it even worth? If they have a weapon, they have a knife, a gun. You might want to comply with what it is that they're doing. I mean, if someone walks up to you and you're walking out of the grocery store and they say, give me your car. Take the keys. You know what I mean? Especially if they got a gun. You're not going to sit there. I mean, there's no point of, if they're just trying to hightail it out. Sometimes doing what they ask you to do or being compliant with them is a good thing, right? But if your kids are in the car, well, you're not giving them the goddamn keys. So now you're going to have to figure out a situation. You have to do the right techniques to make damn sure that you didn't take your kids. So, I think that everything, you can't always say, if they ask for your car keys, give them your car keys, because that mentality isn't true, because again, it's the situation. It's not a rule, it's the situation, right? So when you go somewhere, yes, you should recognize certain things. And I'm sure by now every one of you guys have seen, at least I would think, because I think it's a wonderful series, but I'm sure most of you guys have seen the movie Jason Bourne. The Jason Bourne series. Well, in part 1, he has like amnesia. He doesn't really know who he is. He doesn't remember his name or anything like that. And there's a scene at the start of the movie, and I don't know how far into the movie, but there's a scene where he is getting his, he's going from one city to another. I don't remember the cities or anything, but he's going from one city to another, and he's paid this woman to take him, right? And they stop at like a diner, and he pulls out this stuff inside of a bag, and I don't really remember what she asked, but she's like, what's bothering you or whatever, and he's basically saying, I don't know who I am. And then he's like, he makes a comment, and again, I haven't watched the movie in so long, but he makes this comment. He's like, I know all the numbers of all the cars in the front. I know that our waitress is left-handed. I know that the guy behind the counter there is 200 and some pounds. I know the best place to find a gun is, in this one vehicle. I mean, he goes, I know in this altitude I can run so long and all this kind of stuff. I mean, he really paints this picture like, holy shit, and that right there is like super situational awareness. He's looking at everything. Where's the exits? Who's the biggest guy in the room? What the person that's taking their order, are they right-handed or left-handed? Anyone who's ever been into a scrap knows that the people who are dominant one-sided tend to do certain things one-sided. So knowing right-handed, left-handed does give you a little bit of an advantage, especially if you know what's coming. So anyway, that aspect of situational awareness, just that little gem of knowledge, I think is a pretty good deal, because I think that people should. I mean, if you know that you're in a certain area, you should know, okay, how many cars are here? You should walk in and say, where's the exits? You should see certain things like that. And that's a constant practice. You should be working those drills as to how many people in the room, and all those kind of things. You should plan that in your head all the time. I don't think walking into a restaurant and being at like the color white is a good thing. I think that you should be the color yellow. When we talk about that spectrum, you should be the color yellow a lot. You should always be aware of how many people are in the room. You should always be aware of, where the exits are. For me personally, I always like to position myself to where I can see the exit or the door that I walked in, because the door that I walk in is generally the door I'm going to walk out. Like when you guys go into a store, whether it's in the mall, whether you guys go to a church, right, a temple, if you guys are going to go to a movie theater, if you guys go to a restaurant, generally speaking, the door you walk in is the door you walk out. And that's a very important and crucial thing to always remember. And I think it's something that people overlook. I mean, granted, there's usually exits elsewhere, but not always. And those exits you might not be able to see, because it might be, there's only one exit maybe behind, I don't know, where the cook is in the back of a restaurant that you've never been. You can't assume that there's going to be an exit door back there, although there may very well be. So you always have to have yourself like an exit strategy. Where am I sitting? Where's the exit? Who's walking in? And I'm not necessarily saying you got to profile people as they walk in the door, but I definitely think you should be sizing people up. You should practice the idea of knowing, does that person carry themselves like they know what they're doing? Does this person really, are they carrying a weapon? You can tell when someone's carrying a weapon, especially if you're around people that conceal and carry a lot. I live in Kansas, and I'm in Kansas City. And in Kansas City, we're a constitutional carry state. So here in this particular state, people can carry a concealed weapon, and they don't even have to have you don't have to have a concealed carry license to carry a gun. You just carry a gun, and it can be concealed. You don't need to actually have a license for it. So I'm constantly around people who are carrying, and when you see that a lot, you can tell. And I know some people are pretty good about keeping it away, but you can still tell. And you can see how people walk and see how they hold themselves in their mannerisms. And those are the kind of things that you want to practice and getting into that type of training and doing your research and studying on. And all those aspects of training is good. Remember, knowledge is lightweight. You could take it with you anywhere you go, right? And I think that's something that everyone should think about when they're trying to study the art or the craft or the mentality of situational awareness. So now let's talk about what you should do when you get into situational awareness. Of course, we've talked about, where are you at? How'd you get there? How are you going to leave? What are you doing there? Of course, those are the questions that should arise, just like I talked about earlier in the video. But really, you're going to break down into 3 steps. There are 3 phases. And phase number 1 is perception. So what I mean by that is no matter what you're doing, you need to perceive everything around you. See the unseen, right? No matter what, you should perceive everything. Now that perception is going to then get you to step number 2, or phase 2. And phase 2 actually has 2 parts. Phase 2 actually has 2 parts. And that's going to be understanding and sensory. And what that means is, what is your understanding of the perception you have? Like if you're at the diner. So you're sitting in a diner. We're going to use the diner as an example because we talked about the Jason Bourne movie, right? You're sitting in the diner, and now you need to analyze. You have to have a perception of the situation. What's going on? How many people there? Where are you sitting? Where's the exit? How many cars are in the front? Who's the waiter or the waitress? Are you carrying a weapon? Do you have a weapon? Do you have access to a weapon? The whole bit. So you're coming up with everything. You're going to get a perception and a view of your element, what you're in. Then you're going to have understanding, which is now we're into phase 2 of it. The understanding is going to be, is the waiter a threat? Is the waitress a threat? How many people are in there? Are they a threat? Where's the exit? You're now going to start processing what it is that you perceived. And that's important to realize that. So step 1 is the perception. Step 2 is the process. You're processing that perception so that you can then take that into the next step. Now, when you're processing that situation, you're also going to have what I call the sensory side of things. And what I mean by that is you got to have your gut feeling, right? What is it about the situation that makes you feel good? So are you in a situation where, sorry, I have my hair on my face here. Whatever situation you're in, right? When you're there, is it a good environment? Is everyone happy? Are everyone uptight? What's going on? Are there a lot of police or security in the area? If there is, why? What's going on in the area that there needs to be so much police and security? So then you're going to have this feeling. Do you feel like it's a good situation? Do you feel like it's not a good situation? What do you feel? And I know that sounds nuts. Like, you're going to talk about feelings. Yeah, you should. You should trust your gut feeling. If you think you just got a feeling you're in a bad situation, you're probably in a bad situation. You need to get the fuck out of there. Or you're going to be in a worse situation. So going into these 3 phases, right? Or 3 steps. You can call them 3 steps, 3 phases, 3 levels. It doesn't matter how you want to compartmentalize the lesson tonight. But phase 1 is you need to get perception of everything in the area. You need to perceive. And I didn't use the word see. Okay? You need to get a perception of everything in the area. Okay? And I want to make it very clear that the word I'm using, you're going to perceive what's going on, the actions, the people, the environment, the element, that situation. Number 2 is going to be you're going to process that perception into information, and you're going to ask yourself, do you feel that it's in a good environment, a bad environment? Do you like the area? Does it have a good vibe? And then process the information that you have. How many people do you feel have a weapon, don't have a weapon, who's a threat, who's not the threat, so on and so forth. And then the last step in the process, is carrying out the objective, right? Is making sure that what it is that you feel that you're going to be doing is what you do, right? And that is how you're going to come up with a plan of attack, basically. So perception, process, plan. And then that plan to carry out the objective of where you're in is what you do. Now that situation changes every time you go somewhere. I'm not saying that you guys need to be paranoid, but I mean, if you're sitting, again, we're in the diner, you sit in the diner and you go to the bathroom, the situation's now changed. You're not in the bathroom. How many people are in there? That sort of thing. I mean, now when you're doing all this kind of thing, now let's put this into perception. Excuse me. Let's put this into perspective of how and why people get mugged, or how and why people have all these things. I know we watch these movies and someone runs in with a gun and all this kind of stuff, and although that can very well happen, and I'm not trying to try to sit there and say that kind of stuff doesn't happen or it's not likely to happen, you should be aware of those things. But a lot of times predators, they go after prey that's easy. So, you know, when people are walking around with their headphones all the goddamn time, well, anybody can walk up and steal what you have. You can't even hear what's going on. If you're going to subtract the senses of your environment, that's just your own damn fault, right? So yeah, you want to make sure that you're completely aware. You can see what's going on, you can hear what's going on, and you understand the element and the environment that you're in. You can perceive and see the unseen and see the physical realm. So make sure that, you know, don't go doing something stupid, because if you're running on this, you know, everyone goes out for their runs and like to wear their headphones. Well, it's good, but do you got to have them both in? I mean, because that would be a situation where you're running and you don't know who's behind that tree, and then you got your headphones in, so you didn't hear when you ran by the tree. Well, you know, you don't see someone, and then they're moseying around the tree, and as you take off, they take off after you, and then there it is. Now you're in that situation, and it wouldn't have happened if you didn't have the headphones in. So there's one thing that you see a lot of people do. Another thing that people don't realize is they're always paying so much goddamn attention to their phone all the time. So they're always looking at their goddamn cell phone and on Facebook and Twitter and all this other shit, and they can't get away from the goddamn phone. It's like they're plugged in. People nowadays are so plugged in and tapped into the internet, it's ridiculous. Like, I post a lot, but I'm not on my phone a lot. So like, I wake up in the morning and, you know, I do my workout, I make a post, and then I have lunch and I'll make a post or check it out. Then I go to the dojo and I make a post, take a few pictures, make a post, and then at night I work on videos, or I make one with you guys and then post it up. But during those hours in the middle, I'm never like flipping through the whole thing trying to figure out, you know, oh, what's going on, or who is so-and-so doing on Facebook, or blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't give a shit. I'm too damn busy for all that. But a lot of times people are like that, though. And a lot of people really are like tapped in. They're more tapped in than they are tapped out. And, you know, you need to have just as much external action in life as internal. So if all you're doing is input, and you're not doing output at all, you're going to face, you know, anxieties and stress and depression and all this other shit. But that's how people are nowadays. Well, makes it easy for predators to come after your ass. I mean, if you're always looking at your goddamn Facebook page, you're not looking at the environment. If you're always running around, you know, and you have the goddamn headphones in, you're not paying attention, you're not listening to your environment. If you're, you know, you're drunk, you know, and you're, you know, you're doing drugs and you're drunk and you're drinking and you're doing all this shit, well, then you couldn't protect yourself even if you wanted, you know? So those kind of situations, I'm going to get out of the road that I'm walking in because there's a car coming. Situational awareness. My ass don't want to get hit. But if you don't pay attention to the situation and you don't then things can happen. And the first, you know, I guess there's an old saying, right? Is the best defense, don't be there. That's absolute truth. If you know it's a goddamn war zone over there, you just don't go. When you feel that it's a bad situation, get the fuck out. I mean, I don't give a shit what diner you go to, and it doesn't matter how great the cheeseburgers are. Someone else can make you a damn cheeseburger, you know? So being smart and being intelligent about situational awareness is a very crucial and integral part of self-defense. You know, like people who talk about women and they put themselves in bad situations. And I do like women's self-defense classes and stuff, you know. If you put yourself in a situation where you could be taken advantage of, don't put yourself in those situations where you could be taken advantage of. And I don't mean that just for women, it's men too. Don't put yourself in a situation where, you know, the odds are against you and now you're going to force to have to fight or have to get in some sort of, you know, altercation, physical altercation, you're going to get hurt. You know, being intelligent, right? It isn't about being like smart. It's just being intelligent. Be intelligent. Make intelligent decisions. Don't go to stupid places. Don't go to places where there's lots of high crime. Don't do things that's going to impair your judgment or be able to inhibit your physical action. Understand the area. Anytime you go somewhere, make sure you understand the exits. Know how many people are there. How many cars are in the front. You know, is someone constantly following you? Is someone watching you? Are you going to sit and look at the exit door? Because generally speaking, where you come in is where you go out. You know, and that's important to know. Do you carry a weapon? If you do, are you carrying it in the right time in the right place? You know, understand the different levels of situational awareness. You know, like, you know, you should always grade the situation and act accordingly. Even though I didn't go through the color scheme, like I didn't go through it completely and detailed, and many people have, you know, killed that to death. But I mean, you know, if you feel like you're in a white situation, you know, we use the color scheme. White is completely relaxed, sleeping. You're probably sleeping in your bed. Yellow is you're aware of everything going on, but nothing's going on, right? Orange, you're aware of everything going on and something's going on. Someone's yelling, screaming, or whatever, and you can see that there's a problem. And then red, shit's hit the fan, and now you're in the problem, okay? So, and each one of those different 4 levels do have a different level of perception and mentality that you should consider when you're in that situation. But I'm not really going to get into that in this video. But when you're in a situation, you should also think to yourself those 3 phases. Phase number 1, you got to make sure that you can perceive and get a perception of the whole element. Perceive everything: the people, the place, the vibe, right? The lighting, the exits, who could be having a weapon, who's not. You need to have a complete perception of everything around you, right? Then number 2, you need to process that information. And when you process that information, you also got to put into the situation of how you feel about it. You know, never neglect your gut feeling. It's probably right. And then number 3, that third thing is going to be the, I don't know if say, like, some people say it's the analysis or whatever. It's like whatever, analyze or whatever, but I put that as number 2. But you're going to make that plan. You're going to have a plan of attack to then, this is what the situation is. When the situation changes, you go back to 1. You know, like if you're sitting at the diner, you go to the bathroom, well, the situation's now changed. You know, if you go from there, you're walking to your car, the situation is now changed. So situational awareness is always being aware of your situation. And if you put yourself in bad positions, ultimately, you're going to be in a bad position. And I think this is something that, this is a video that I think is kind of a no-brainer and a no-shit for most people who study martial arts. For some people who don't study martial arts, maybe it's not. So anyway, this was the my thoughts for the martial arts tonight. Situational awareness, like I said, might be something that I get more in depth on. I didn't really talk in depth on much, but I gave a little quick overview about the concept of situational awareness and its relation to self-defense. So again, if you guys are interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, please check out my website at www.budoninjutsu.com. If you are interested in training, check out our list of dojos. If you don't live next to one of our dojos, then we also offer an online ninjutsu dojo for you to study the ancient arts of the ninja and samurai. And thank you guys very much for all of your love and support. I do appreciate it. And until next time, take care, be safe, and good luck in your journey of Budo. Bye.